If you've been following, we do the warm-ups and then we go through the series of movements and postures, and we show it in different views. You know, we got a side panel here that I've been playing around with the mirror to see if we can get that to show some of the movements on this side. And then there's a mirror that's kind of slanted there, so if you see from this angle, maybe it's a change of perspective. It's actually a 45-degree corner, because sometimes seeing it on the oblique lines is helpful to see that there's a frontal direction. Okay, so let's start off with the warm-ups. Feet about shoulder width apart, hands up like this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. Okay, now the hands are like this. This goes over the head to the side. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and stop. Okay, next, I'm going to lift up like this, reach down. 1, 2, 3, to your right. 2, 3, to your left. 2, 3, center, inhale, exhale. Hands up, reach down. 1, 2, 3, to your right. 2, 3, to your left. 2, 3, center, inhale, exhale. Okay, hands on your waist, circular movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Center, cross, knees, circular movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Okay, hands on your waist, neck turning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1 and 2. Back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1 and 2. Tilt to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Center. Rotating. 1, 2, 3. Reverse. 1, 2, 3. Center. Hands up. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, spread your feet. Turn your shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, and stop. Okay. Stretch it out. Switch. 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 Straighten the front knee. Switch. 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 Okay, center. Then we squat down a bit. So when you try this alternating legs, if you can't support yourself, could be flexibility or strength, you can actually use a chair or use some type of apparatus, even a pole on the wall or a lolly column if you're doing this in the basement or in a space where there is a pole, you can hold on to it just for some support, pick up some of the load that your body would be carrying so that you can get used to kind of squatting down on one side and stretching in between the two hips. Okay, so that really works inside near the groin area and closer to the hip. So that's an area that people are not really used to stretching. You know, everybody stretches the back of the hamstrings, but the inner thighs and up in the groin area, the tendency is not to move those areas very much, and stretching becomes, it's a bit painful if you're not used to it, but the thing is, you have to be very careful because you don't want to pull these muscles. Okay, deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And the way you would end up pulling a muscle is if you put too much stress on those ligaments in the joint and the muscles in there, because your body weight and the amount of stress you're putting on it is because the muscles in there are not used to it or strong enough to deal with that. So that's why if you hold a chair and you do the stretching from side to side, it helps pick up some of the body load, which is your weight, so that you don't go into a position too abruptly or use too much require too much strength, and your muscle will actually either resist or fatigue, and you possibly get an injury. Okay, now we're gonna kind of do the leg rotation here, like this, to loosen up that hip again, and then go the other way. Then do the other leg. You go the other way. Now we're going to turn the foot out and turn, opening up the hip, opening up the hip. And center. Okay, let's put our hands together, stretch the fingers, bring it down, lift up, down, up, go to the side. So this gets higher up, more in the shoulder blades and clavicle area. Bring it down to here, invert the hand, relax the shoulders like this, and then we just work the wrists, reverse, wrists, wrists, wrists. So this gets the top of your forearm, shoulder, and the shoulder. Okay, shake it out. Deep breathing, inhale, exhale. Inhale, breathe through your nose. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, so, that kind of limbers us up a little bit. We're going to start doing some of the positions. So we're going to go to the back and go to the front. So this is the hand movement for Repulse the Monkey. Now, usually when we do these movements, get this wire out of the way. From the back side, you can actually track it much better. So it's like doing a breaststroke, right? So you're like swimming. Okay, so if we do it from the angular position, you would look like this. If we're in a position where we're in the stance, that's a brush knee. This is Repulse the Monkey. This is brush knee. Repulse the Monkey is backwards. 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 And backwards. Going forward. So this is brush knee. Okay. Strum the lute. Okay. Step up, strum the lute. So that's the footwork to get into a position and find a vertical elbow. Okay, so this is your left side. This is your right side going backwards to Repulse the Monkey. And we're here. Okay. Now in Strum the Lute, if we step up, same footwork for Stork Flaps Wings. So I'm kind of going with a half step forward, but going from postures from the Repulse Monkey forward, so I'm actually reversing it. This is Stork Flaps Wings. So we step up turn, and set this up. Now we reverse the hands and hold the ball. We have part the horse's mane. Part the horse's mane. Part the horse's mane. Okay, let's go to neutral position, strum the lute. Let's go backwards. This is Repulse the Monkey. So these movements are not being done in order. I'm just running through the posture so you can see. Grasp the sparrow's tail. Ward off, roll back, press, and push. Stepping up, ward off, roll back, press, and push. Okay, try again. Left side, ward off, roll back, press, and push. So I'm going to step backwards. Now right side, ward off, roll back, press, and push. Now if I turn toward the mirror, you can see I'm going to go to cloud hands after I go to single whip. So from here to here. From here to here. And then cloud hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's a series of movements taking us to the left as cloud hands. Okay, big circles. Big circle to lift the knee. Big circle to lift the knee. Because this is your preparation for the kick. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. So that works the legs directly from these muscles here that actually help us pick our knees up. So, why is that important? You need some strength here. Well, if you're walking and you're going upstairs or you're going downstairs, this is footwork. So sinking, when you go downstairs, you'd have to kind of bend this leg. In fact, when you go downstairs, you don't want to just kind of step down to the next step by dropping into that front leg. It's safer, and actually the best way is actually when you go down, you bend this leg when you go down the stairs. Now you might be holding a rail, but when you do that, your ankles relax, your knees relax, and you sit into the leg as you descend. Now going up, you lift this leg, and then you push off this leg in order to go upstairs. So all of these movements that we're doing actually helps you lift and control your step. So it's no wonder Tai Chi is prescribed to people that have issues with falling, walking, or any leg issues. It's because we don't actually use our legs enough and we don't use them properly. A lot of times, because we don't do a lot of typical movement with our legs, we become kind of dysfunctional. We're not very agile on our feet. We don't have good control. The ankles become very stiff, and it's a spiral downward once your legs don't work the way they should. So stretching, all of those things that we do without excessiveness and not too extreme is very valuable, because muscles tend to want to tighten, and when they tighten, it tightens, so you become somewhat rigid. So the only way to avoid rigidity and stiffness is to learn to move soft and gentle, soft and gentle. So your body builds this suppleness in motion, but gentleness in motion, because it requires much more control of your musculature and the manipulation of this skeletal structure. You know, it's easy to get from point A to point B by being rigid. What happens in between is the control that you develop in your motion and movement, and that all happens up here. This is programming, you know, movements. I call it, you know, building complexity. You know, the more complex, the more integrated your body is, the more of a program required to create these actions. And you know, that doesn't happen until you start to understand how to develop that. It's developed through repetition, it's developed through a certain amount of understanding, but understanding comes from experience. So while we're looking at these movements and you're thinking you're doing this, or actually you don't really understand the geometry of the position, you don't understand the direction of movement, because the body doesn't really align or line up with the positions that are required to create a specific posture. I mean, a simple movement like this, and I say 135 degrees from the front, you would say, well, where's that 135 degrees? So if my body's like this, and this is at the frontal center line position, and I have a 90-degree position to here, that's 90 degrees. Well, from here to here, there's 45 degrees. So that and that combined becomes 135 degrees. But you can't go from point A to point B because your shoulder only goes here. That's the maximum position, because your back doesn't allow it. So how do I turn to the corner? I have to turn my spine. I have to turn my spine. So if I turn my spine to that position, it's 45 degrees. I have 145 there, and I have 145 there. I have 145 there, and I have 145 there. So those are the corners. This is the side. This is the front. Okay? And obviously that's the back, but you can't put your hands behind you. The only way you can get your hands behind you is this. Possibly this, but actually it doesn't even turn all the way. So there's limits to where your joints will go. Those limits, when you're moving really fast, like say you're playing some striking sport like volleyball or tennis or golf or whatever it is that requires huge range of motion, and your shoulders and your body's not timed correctly, chances are you're going to hurt yourself. And what you hurt is your back. You throw your back out, you injure your shoulders. Those are the places that hurt. Maybe even your hip if you're turning the wrong way, if you're not flexible enough. So, you know, these are areas that get injured when you're doing movements fast and forceful. When we do Tai Chi, we're not doing it forcefully, because before we let the joint get injured, we've already stopped because it's going slowly. You know, it's sort of like driving your car at 60 miles an hour versus 5 miles an hour. If something comes in front of you, the reaction could be the same, but the results are going to be different, because at 60 miles an hour, the speed and action's going to be different. It's going to, you know, if you hit something, you could be bouncing off all over the place. Well, your shoulder is the same thing. If you're going fast, there's no pulling back on that. So practice your Tai Chi slowly as possible, especially if you're not familiar with the movements, and don't force it. Same with the stretching. All right, so we're going to do the sequence now, and I'm going to start off actually facing this way first. This is the typical way, and then most of the movements will be heading that way. All right, so we're going to start off like this, and we go to preparation, we open the form, and we sink. Once we get here, you don't go back up. You stay here, and you do part the horse's mane left side. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Brush knee 3 times. So breaking each piece down, taking your time, set up your hands, set up your legs, strum the lute, repulse the monkey. Look to the back, shoot to the front, look to the back. So you're here, 1, and you turn back to the front, and then we're here, hold the ball, grasp the sparrow's tail, ward off, roll back, press, and push. Okay, so let me do that from the back side. Okay, so we're here, open, hold the ball, and we're going to do this 3 times. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Hold the ball, step up, ward off, roll back, press, and push. Then I'm going to turn, I'm going to do the grasp the sparrow's tail on the right side. So the right side grasp the sparrow's tail would be this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So where does that happen? We did the grasp the sparrow's tail there. We would have turned and I would have done it here. Okay. Now once I complete the grasp the sparrow's tail, that's followed by single whip. Okay, so now you can follow me this way because we did this earlier. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then when you finish back to this corner, we're here. Then we step up, palm strikes face. Okay, so that movement after cloud hands and single whip becomes this. 1, 2, 3. And we step off to the corner. 1, 2, 3. 2 punches to the ear. And then we turn to the back corner and we scoot down and heel kick. And then we end up like this, and then we're going to scoot down to do downward posture. So what we did there was palm strikes face, step to the corner, lift up the knee, heel kick, 2 punches to the ear. And this is mapped out according to how the sequence should be once we end up here. Because we started in the front with the mirror there. And this movement, you scoot down, come up, and you lift as you go up. Then you turn, you scoot down, right? and then you go up. This is going to go up, and we're here. Okay? So if we see that from this view, we just finished downward posture. We go up, turn to this corner, and we go up and down, and then we go up like this. Then we step out to the corner here. We lift, Jade Lady work shuttle, Jade Lady work shuttle, shift, and we do the insert the needle to fan through the back. And typically that would happen here. As we turn, we create the parry and the punch, cross the arms, leopard and tiger springs to mountain, and then we would close the form, and this is the front view, and we would end up like this. Okay, so you can see that the form, once you do the kicks and you go do the downward postures, you have the two Jade Lady work shuttle here, okay, and then we're here. Insert the needle, fan through the back, turn, parry and punch. Now we're back to the original position, cross the arms, leopard and tiger springs to mountain, and then we close the form. And relax. So we map out the form typically in class, and we've gone through it many times, but I just want you to identify the posture, so I went through them from different views so that you can just practice a chunk of the form without actually doing the whole thing, because you have to kind of go back and work the pieces so that you can improve on that. So even though there's just short snippets of what we did, you just have to work a small piece. Once you've sort of built some of the coordination and body mechanics, then you kind of go back and revisit the sequence and try to insert those pieces there, and that's how you work your form. So if you like the content, give us a thumbs up, subscribe. It's important. We're shooting for the 1,000 subscribers. We're getting close. We're in the 900 somewhere, and you can share this with friends, and I'll see you next week. Typical class is usually at 9:30 on Wednesday morning. If you hit the notification button, you'll get notified, every time there's going to be some type of video that's going to be shown. And these are live videos, so it's something that you could do, but because you can't see it in the morning because you're working, you can always go to the archive videos and see it there. All right, I'll see you next time.